Not everything legal is moral. What is the best contemporary example of this? Cheating on your SO. In the U.S. military court system, it is illegal to cheat onto your SO. You can be charged with dishonorable discharge, retirement forfeiture, and imprisonment. A friend of mine just found out her BF had cheated on her. Seriously, why do people do this? In South Dakota, you have a right to sue as the spouse cheated on. Interesting law. You can marry a goat in some Midwestern states, but not your neighbor's goat. So apparently Americans are projecting every time they say Muslims F goats or animals. Bestiality isn't a thing among Muslims, but apparently among Americans it is. What about joining a convent with my neighbors? Insurance companies denying full coverage or the highest standard of care to cancer patients, especially pediatric cancer patients. You are so right, Peas. If your kid has cancer, look into St. Jude. It is completely free and some of the best care you can get. An insurance company getting a lawyer for the person who killed their client in a car accident, just so they don't have to pay out. War on drugs. I already commented on a similar post, but I feel strongly enough about this to also comment here. Lol F. Reagan. A few years ago, an autonomous zone in Portland lifted all drug bans. The place was later declared a biohazard zone by the local government. Can you elaborate? Hiding billions of dollars in offshore accounts so as not to be taxed. Technically, tax evasion is still illegal. I'm sure there are plenty of legal loopholes that prevent it from being evasion. However, would hiding your to avoid paying taxes to an immoral government be immoral? Toxic parenting. Yes. Emotional and psychological abuse is functionally legal. BC, it's hard to prove and doesn't leave visible marks. It's hell. Probably the most damaging of all immoral but legal acts. Having toxic parents can be really damaging, and I speak from personal experience. It's often looked over and the children are blamed for it or accused of exaggerating. Just because it isn't physical, doesn't mean it shouldn't be taken seriously. That a police officer can use unauthorized force in unarmed protesters. Let's hope that current events change that. Unauthorized force actually is illegal though, so that's not a good example. Definitely not legal. MLMs, fast fashion, factory farming, forcing religion onto kids without choice, payday loans, catfishing. What is fast fashion? By the time they get into their teens, forcing religion on kids is a big no-no to me. Before that though, it's just parenting. Every parent instills their values onto their kids in some manner. And it's not like religious parents should have to hire babysitters every time they go to church. I genuinely hate fast fashion and everything about it. Parents posting hundreds of pictures of their young children online. Wait, why is this immoral? I'm not disagreeing. Closing parenthesis. Why is this immoral? Every concentration camp in North Korea and China is legal. Guantanamo Bay is legal. So you may say torturing is legal. China and North Korea, as people, would be total sick bee who had a mansion with make-believe currency and a school bus full of innocent people in their basement. In 27 states, the law does not specify any minimum age below which a child cannot marry. According to Unchained at last, https://www.cbsnews.com/news/child-marriage-and-the-u-s- surprisingly-widespread/ The fact that anyone under the age of 18 can marry in the United States is a problem. Facebook, Google, and lots of companies that sell your information online for targeted advertising. We are just helping you get the stuff you need. Private equity firms that buy successful companies, load them with debt, bankrupt them, and sell off the leaving communities destroyed and destroying the livelihood of thousands to make a few million bucks. Is this really legal? Well, this one. I've seen this happen to quite a few companies I was close to. This would have been my answer. Thank you for not making me formulate the sentence. This needs to be legislated away ASAP. Advertisements for prescription medication. Agreed. I'm not used to advertisements. Thanks streaming services. And spent an afternoon at my grandparents' who still use cable television. Almost every single commercial I saw was for some form of medication. It just doesn't feel right. It's illegal in most countries. Only legal in US and NZ, if I recall correctly. Child support enforced by the state against statutorily rape male minors to force them to support their unwanted child. The morality is weird about that one, because the needs of the child are significant. At the same time, I think that's the burden of the state personally and shouldn't be the burden of the victim. In a number of states, a woman who is raped is forced to share custody with the rapist. So screwed up. Refusing to vaccinate your children. Trump got elected with fewer votes. Under the Electoral College, it is technically possible to win the presidency with only 22% of the popular vote. Not wearing a mask during a pandemic. Also, spreading conspiracies like 5 grams causes corona. Little do we know the mask companies are spreading that theory so people buy more masks. Corporate spending to buy elections. Morally reprehensible, but legal thanks to Citizens United. A woman named Crystal Kaiser was almost put to death for killing someone who had sex trafficked her. Source: I rest my case.